Hey folks, Jeremy here, listening to Blammo. A special bonus episode this week. Woo! Big old bonus with Andrea Pacella, the global marketing director of Leica. Leica, the big L. Look, for starters, Leica is a brand that raises eyebrows. From their signature look and style to the classic understated design, everyone loves the company or has something to say about the company with the red dot. And I will admit, I believe that they were overrated. Honestly, I thought they were totally overrated and some sort of head scratcher. But I started shooting with them, and my own journey really made me want to learn more about how this camera company created their own look. Yes, by the way, Google the Leica look, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But they've more or less remained unchanged since they founded. Shooting with the Leica has really made me slow down and be way more careful about my pictures, just like learning how to compose. And I think ever since I had kids, there's just been this joy of photography. And, I'll go and look at the photos later and get all excited. It's almost like, like the baseball cards that I used to collect, but it's just been an incredible joy. And I've really fallen in love with this brand. I chatted with Andre about how he found his way to the brand, why collectors love Leica, pushing back on the snobbiness, the obsession of Leica lens and films, and why he says they're not better than any other brand, just different. How's your day so far?
Fine, good. I'm on sort of holiday, which means
What?
that I'm theoretically on holiday, but take time to do my things,
Oh
prepare
my god!
for the upcoming season.
Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry that we're doing
No,
this
no,
on your vacation.
I'm quite happy instead because it would have been much more problematic in a normal day of work. While today I'm quite relaxed and happy to speak with
Oh,
you.
okay. That's good to know. Yeah, you're not dealing with the stress of just your normal day to day.
No, no, I mean stress is a big word, but it's.
Yeah.
But there are some, there are meetings and things to do. While I've taken this week to prepare myself for all the appointments I have in the next weeks and months, which are very tight packed. A lot of travel,
Nice.
a lot of business, a lot of work to do.
How has stuff been since the launch of the M11? Because it feels like, historically they don't make cameras like iPhones. It's not like every year there's a new thing,
No,
it's
definitely
slow.
not. Definitely not. We are a slow company,
Yeah.
which is somehow one of the best aspects of our
Right?
of our brand. Yes, because sometimes being slow, you take the time to think about what really matters and what not. And especially when we do new cameras when we really have something meaningful to put in that camera for our customers, not just because we want to do Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, just putting some more pixels and some more thousands of seconds of speed of the autofocus, especially
Right.
in those cameras that don't even have the autofocus. So it's a different way to do things. We have somehow we have earned the right to do the things our way, and is
Yeah.
also the nice thing of our brand, and we can afford it. We have a market that understands that this is a value and not an issue. When you invest, even because you invest a lot of money in a Leica,
Right.
knowing
Yeah.
that your camera will be good for the next extremely performing for the next 10 years, it's at least it's even in digital world, it's somehow reassuring of the investment you're doing.
Right.
So
Is it you said like performing for the next 10 years? Is that like the assumption or that you guys view your product life cycles for
no,
people that buy it?
no, what I mean is that we have launched the M11 in January,
Hmm.
4.5 years after the M10.
Right.
But today, if you still own an M10, you still have a great performing camera. We have
Right.
customers who do not feel the need to step up to the M11 because they are pretty happy with the M10 they have,
Right.
which means that it's your choice to upgrade to the new model. We still have customers happy with the M240 that was launched in 2012, and we have customers that are happy with the M9 that was launched in 2009 and would never trade it because they get the colors that they like, the kind of image that they like, and you can use your 20, 30 years lenses on the latest cameras, and they perform well. So it's a different way to approach the business and the market. It's not better. I never say that we are better than anyone, but different. Yes, it's a different way. I like to use my 30 years old lenses still with the M11, and I
they
still
fit?
shoot. Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, wide open. They were done before the computer start getting capable of computing so perfectly the radius and the curves of a lens, and the coating was not the one of today. But somehow they have some flaws that make the picture that you took with them unique. And what I like from my pictures, that if they are unique, and it's not true that you can fake everything in Photoshop. There are some imperfections coming from the old Leica lenses that are beautiful, and those imperfections sometimes make things beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like old lenses have had a big resurgence lately because especially with oh gosh, I think it's the Matt Reeves Batman movie. I don't know if you saw the most recent Batman movie with Robert Pattinson.
No,
there's like
not yet.
there's a grittiness in the film, and it's very dark and rainy, and a lot of the stuff that's done with his director of photography is all old lenses to make things feel kind of that mood.
I know it is the same in photography, but for example, Leica had a system that was called the R system. They were single reflex cameras in the 80s, 90s, and the lenses for those cameras are almost impossible to be found today because they have all been bought and converted to cine lenses because they have some incredible qualities that cinematographers like, directors of photography like, and they had a very long throw for the focusing, which helps for cinema, and they have been all adapted to cinema lenses. So yes, sometimes perfection is not so nice. When you buy I don't think that people buy Harley Davidson motorcycles because they want all the latest technology. They simply want an ugly noise coming out of the exhaust.
That's
and
really
they like
point.
the imperfection. They like, I don't know. I love music, and I still have since 50 years my collection of vinyls. And I listen to I also listen to Spotify, but I also listen to vinyls. And when you put the cartridge, the arm on the record, and you see all those cracking and all those ticking, it's part of the experience. It gives you some sense of concreteness, and it's not choosing either or. Taking picture with an old Leica film camera is good, and taking picture with your iPhone is also good. And listening to Spotify when it's the moment, and taking the time to use your vinyl LP when you have time. It depends. It depends from what you want to enjoy. I think that I'm one of those people that enjoys the journey more than the destination.
Oh, hey, yeah, the joys in the journey. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. That it's funny because you had mentioned the slight imperfections, and I feel like, yeah, especially like people that listen to the show and like clothes and watches, where people that obsess over Rolex or obsess over Speedmasters and things like that, and those technically they're accurate, but I'm gonna air quote that word because it's not more accurate than the phone in their hand. That's synced to an atomic clock. Like, none of these things are synced. They're all mechanical. They're all slightly imperfect. They need to be worked on every few years. But there is, I think maybe some of the stuff that like you're speaking to is also like a beauty in craftsmanship, right? Because I think like that's the thing. Even though an iPhone is made by hand, a lot of it is made and assembled by hand. Like it's calculated, like there's a coldness to it versus I think a lot of us now do crave a bit of warmth of humanity.
It's depend on what you need and what you need in that moment.
Right. Okay.
It's if you buy a watch it's not because you want to know what time it is. Today you have so many opportunities to know what time it is. You want to buy something that completes you. You want to buy something that fits you. Otherwise, the best choice today, purely logical, would be the iWatch, because it
Oh, the
tells you
yeah,
everything, except for the
yeah,
fact that when you have my age, you are not anymore able to read it because it's too small. So, and I've grown up with classical watches like mine, like yours, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for my generation, the watch was somehow one of those elements that was the rite of passage of becoming old. So you were
Oh,
getting
okay.
your watch, or your father watch, or your finally you were able to buy your watch, and that was a moment. Then there is people who collect watches, that love watches. Is not my kind of passion. I prefer to collect cameras and lenses,
Right.
and but people love watches, and people love whatever they want, and I think the nice thing we should, if we want to give a name that is always too restrictive, just
Mm,
try to close everything in one concept. But the concept is passion.
okay.
You need to feel passion for something. How unlucky is a person that has not a passion for something? I think it might be reading books, movies, photography, music, play, and it's not only to, and it can be done in many things. I'm not able to play any instruments, but I deeply love music,
Hmm.
from Beethoven to Coltrane to the Beatles to everything else, and I enjoy listening music even if I'm not able to play, and I
Mm,
enjoy watching pictures, and I'm
mm.
also able to take them, and it's my passion, and that's what makes my job interesting and happy for me. That's why I was telling you, I'm very reluctant to use the word stress, because even when I work a lot, I work on something that I love, which is photography, which is cameras, which is Leica. So stress can happen because there can be moments in your activity that bring to be stressed. But again, it's at least I do what I work on something I understand, which is important, because
Hmm.
I have built through my passion for photography, taking picture and looking at pictures, a good knowledge about that, which makes my job much easier. I'm actually a classical Leica customer who helps me to know our customers.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I mean, what was your situation before Leica? Because you were a photographer, or I mean, still are, but you had a strong background in photography, and I mean, and what was it you had said that like the initially you couldn't buy your first Leica? They didn't think you were good enough.
Yeah, I basically arrived to photography because I hated Latin when I was
Okay.
at school, and I had to study Latin one summer. And I had an uncle that was a professor of Latin and Italian literature,
Hmm.
and who had the passion for photography. And I was going to him to theoretically he should have taught me Latin, but I hated it. And we were both passionate, and he was passionate with photography, and I was passionate with anything that was not Latin. And so he started to teaching me about photography. He had the dark room and printing, and the first time I saw a picture coming out in the developer in the darkroom, it was a sting. It was a kick that changed my life, and I got interested in photography. And I was studying later. I was studying economics at the university, and it was the 80s. And I living in Milan. Milan was the center of fashion, and they needed photographers to take pictures of models, fashion shows, whatever. And to earn some money, I started taking pictures.
Mm.
But then I understood that I was more interested in photography like reportage. I started discovering the photography of the greatest photographers, from Elliot Erwitt to Cartier-Bresson to Bob Capa to you name them, all and I started to get interested in this kind of photography, humanistic photography, photo reportage. And I noticed that all these people was using this strange little camera with completely different from the Nikon I was using at the time. And I got curious. I mean, it's difficult for people to understand today that it was not so easy to go on internet, click Wikipedia, write Leica, and understand what was it.
Yeah.
So you had to make your searches. And through these searches, I arrived one day to this store where they were displaying these old, battered Leica M4 II with a 35 millimeter lens. And I got in and asked, interested, because I wanted to buy. And the dealer started to make me some questions.
Wow.
And at the end, he said, I think this is not the right camera for you. You're not ready for it. And then I got completely mad about it.
Yeah.
And tried to do everything. So I went back to the dealer with pictures and showed him my picture. And then I told him, I think I can have that camera. And then in the end, he accepted to sell me the camera. But it was a challenge. And I think it was good because it gave me perception of the value of the camera. And the beginning was disaster. I was not able to take picture because I was used to a very simple camera, easy to use. And I had to trade everything I had for that old small camera.
Yeah.
But in the end, it started building something different in me. And it started love for taking pictures, not only for photography, for the process of taking picture, for the process of viewing. It's something unique and has not changed. Sometimes people ask me, what do I think, or as in my role at Leica, about smartphones as cameras, intended as cameras. And I mean, as a company, we really believe in smartphone photography. It's a completion of the photography. In fact, we are collaborating with companies that make smartphones. We have started doing our own smartphones. But personally, I think that they are two tools that live perfectly together. The difference is not in how you use them. The difference is why you use them. I mean, a smartphone is a camera that you always have with you. It's in your pocket. You see something, you react, you take the camera, you take the picture. It's a reactive approach to photography. When you have a camera around your neck or on your shoulder, or you're carrying your camera, the fact that you're carrying your camera, at least for me, makes you more conscious. You are not only reacting, you are searching. You are not just reacting to something that happens. You are consciously searching for something meaningful. And I'm not saying nice but something meaningful to portray, to take a picture of. You are for a story, you're looking for a story to tell. I see it to a certain extent like the difference between television and cinema. Television is telling what's happening.
Okay.
Cinema is telling a story. You have to build the story before,
right.
and then you can make a movie. You have to have in your head what one character says to the other, which is the development of the story, which is the ending, the tipping point, the beginning, the tipping point, the ending. In photography is the same. When you go out with a camera and you want to do something more than just a snapshot, you have to have an idea in your mind, and then this idea helps you to find story. I'm friend with many great photographers. One of these is Steve McCurry. I had a lot of time to spend with him because we traveled together a lot. And I noticed that he has a few patterns that he follows everywhere he goes, and any kind of photographic work he does. He takes picture of people sleeping. He takes picture of people reading. So, and these make his perception, his senses higher, and he is able to notice something that maybe I was not noticing and passing by when I was with him, but he was noticing, because if you go out of home and say, I'm interested in everyone who is wearing a hat, you immediately find pictures that otherwise you would have not found. And this is like cinema, like building a story and then trying to represent the story. And to do this, it's better a camera. You can do it also with a smartphone, but a camera in your hands, something that should not be there with you because it's something more, helps you to be more attentive, more conscious of what's happening.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, and my sort of journey is, I took photo classes in school when I was younger, was frustrated by the maybe it's because I was younger too. I wanted things just quicker, right? I'm like 17 or something at that time. And I had a camera, but my first camera was actually a digital camera. So there was a almost like conflict between the accessibility and the ease of it. And there was not, it basically made zero time for me to learn how to focus and compose, right? And then obviously I've had an iPhone for eons since the first one. I've had every stinking iPhone, and they are good phones, but it's also, I have 2 kids. I'm used to taking them out and just always taking pictures of things. And lately since I've started messing around with the M11, I've looked through the photos I've taken with my iPhone, and they don't mean anything, and I'm not belittling myself or my kids or anything, but like there's nothing like, well, why do I have a picture of this? And I took it because I could. And I think that that's something, almost to like talk about the amount of excess, just like data that people are using, just like taking meaningless photos. Like it doesn't mean anything. And when I got the Leica, I was really upset with it first. I really hated it. I was like, this is a cool camera. It's just expensive. It's dumb. I don't like it. And then I started to learn how to use it. And I realized that there's way more work in just the composition and building what that is. But when you get it and when you nail it, I mean, there's a photo I took of my daughter that I don't know how the hell I was able to get it done, but like I framed it like it's and I don't say it as like, oh, I'm a good photographer. I made so many mistakes and I kept trying over and over again, and there was a joy and success in like being able to take a good picture, and you can see everything, and it's beautiful, and it's in black and white, and it's like I was physically moved, and it's like I would rather have that one photo of my daughter on that day and get rid of 20,000 other dumb photos I took on my iPhone. And so I say this not to belittle all these iPhones, but like when my experience using the Leica has taught me way more about like patience and the joy of getting like one shot, then let me just take pictures all day and maybe there's something good on it.
Sure. But in fact, if you remember, I have never used the word nice or beautiful referring to pictures. I was saying meaningful. Those pictures are meaning. That picture is beautiful because it's meaningful to you. And it's. I was joking with a class of people. I was doing a presentation and I showed a sheet of 8x10 film or glass plate, and I wrote and I say, you see, there was a time when you had one shot and one shot was good.
Yeah.
Then it came the time of roll film, and you had 12 shots and one shot was good. And then you moved to the 36 rolls, and you had 36 shots and one was good. And today you have an SD card. You can take 3,600 pictures and one is good.
Yeah.
So the quality, there is no connection between quantity and quality. When you go out for dinner, you don't want to eat a lot. You want to eat good. I mean, I'm
Very
Italian.
true.
We have a real culture of food. But when you go
absolutely.
out, you want to eat good. You don't want to eat a lot. And if you go to a restaurant and you really find something you like, one thing, one flavor, one dish that really makes you say, wow, this is good. It's an experience. So Leica is this kind of photography. Still today, the M system especially, is that kind of photography that pushes you to shoot less and to get more challenge when you press the shutter, and you enjoy more. If you are a professional that you need come home with the perfect shot because you are paid for it, it's great. You buy a mirrorless camera with 10 frames per second, autofocus, auto everything. It's a perfect camera. You need to have that shot. So maybe you shoot 92 pictures to have the right one, because that's your job, and that's perfectly understandable. But my job is not. I don't earn money with photography. So photography is, if it's, I could live without. So it doesn't. I would eat, sleep, pay university to my children, pay the mortgage of the house, everything without photography. Take with everything without owning a camera or taking a picture. So if I do it, it has to have a meaning. because otherwise I could use my time in another way. And the meaning is exactly what you say. When I took that picture that I like, I get emotional.
Yeah.
It moves me. You know how I am every day, every year, every moment. I have to evaluate pictures from photographers, and for me, it's very simple to understand why when a photographer has done a great picture, because I feel envy. I would have wanted to take their pictures. So I say, wow, I would like to have taken this picture.
Yeah.
I would like this picture to be mine. And that's the perfect sense that I have. This is a photographer I love.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Especially when you'd mentioned Steve McCurry, because so many of his photos are letting people, have just a casual view of what everyday life is from something they're totally disconnected from.
Yeah. And people don't know. And I know because I've traveled with him and I've witnessed him taking pictures. People doesn't know how many hours, how much time he dedicates taking a picture, studying the picture, waiting hours for the right light, waiting hours because the right elements in the picture come together all of a sudden, studying a lot, the place, the people. Photography comes not by accident. You can be a great photographer only if you really are committed to do what you want. Even with those kind of photography that usually seem more spontaneous, like street photography, for example. Between the photographers I'm honored to be friends with, there is also Joel Meyrovitz, that has been one of the greatest street photographers of all time. And he taught me a lot about it. And he told me, it is not true that if you just walk around, you take great pictures. If you want to take pictures, stand in a corner in New York, stand in a corner between two streets, an avenue and a street. Stay there, study the place, study the elements, look at the people, look intensively at the people. Try to build a skill about knowing what's happening, what is going to happen. That's why he says the Leica is perfect, because the Leica, when you use the M or even the Q, the ones with the separate viewfinder, you can keep the camera to your eye, but keep the other eye open to check what's happening around.
Right.
So it's study, it's commitment, it's dedication. Nothing comes for free. And it's what you were saying. It's composition is so important. And what I don't like in many photographers, young photographers today, who also take good pictures, that they don't care at all about composition. Composition is important. If you place the elements a little bit left, a bit right, it's choosing the right focal length, it changes a lot. And for example, a lot of people today say, but you don't need a tripod anymore to do photography, because, cameras of today have go up to 100,000 ISO. You can photography in the dark without any problem, which is true. Fact is, you don't use a tripod when you do landscape or architecture because not to have camera shake. You do it because the tripod helps you to compose, slows you down, helps you to choose a spot, view the scene, understand if it's right. If it's not, move the tripod left, right, back, forth. It slows you down. It helps you compose. When I had the time to do it, I also took pictures with large format cameras. Deerdorf 8x10, Master Technica 4x5, because it was a great way to learn composition, because you see on the ground glass under the cloth, you see the scene left to right and top down. So you see a picture that has no connection to reality, and this disconnection from reality helps you to purely compose the forms, and that's what is interesting. It's composition. And again, today you can do it also with the display on the back of a camera. You can compose there like you were doing in the past with medium format and large format cameras. It's dedication. When you play music, you don't just play randomly. You rehearse, you exercise, you try new sounds, you try new chords. And when you do photography, if you do it for the pleasure of taking pictures and not only for recording the burger or the pizza or that you are eating in that moment taken with the smartphone, but if you want to do something more meaningful, then you have to pay a little attention to it.
Yeah.
And then it's a joy to do it.
Yeah, I will say that the benefit that's helped me with the composition stuff is the sensors are so big that I've looked at the pictures I've taken and I've like, oh yeah, if I crop, if I reduce this much, in some cases it's like 30-40%, right? I'm like cropping. And then I'm like, oh, that's a way better frame. I'm going to try to look for that sort of frame next time. And I think that's one of the things that's been kind of nice is like from messing around with it, because the sensor is just so insane. It's so incredible that I've really been able to start to figure out like how I need to train my eye to view, because I have zero, again, I took some high school classes, like I have zero experience. It's now just been go take as many pictures as you can. But even then, coming from an iPhone, taking thousands of pictures, as many pictures as you can for me is like 35, like 40, maybe, so, and also they're so big, I'm uploading them to my computer. The files are large. I'm spending, way more time in every process of that. But having a sensor so big has really helped me figure out how to compose more versus, if I crop other photos I've taken into oblivion, it's like, well, that's a smudge, there's no resolution left.
Because, cropping, there is people that want to play the purist and say, oh no, you have to be perfect when you take the picture. That's not true. Cropping in post-production, it's a great way to learn composition. And the more you are able to recrop your pictures in the right way post-production, the more you do it, and then automatically the more you learn and your brain becomes used to see the same composition in reality. So the more you do it, the more you learn and the more you will be better and the less you will need recropping later. But there is nothing bad in cropping or post-producing, as long as you either try to keep the image as more close to original that it was, or if you can also completely alterate the reality of the picture, but then you have to be aware that you are doing art and not anymore documentation. But photography can be documentary, or photography can be art. You can alter everything. You can change everything with the knowledge that you are making a form of art. If you want to do documentation, then you should be very careful of what you do with your image. Even if, again, I speak about these purists, integralists of photography that say that you should not alter the pictures, cancelling, or yes, it's true, but photography is never objective. It's subjective. Deciding what you put in your frame, it's already a decision that is subjective and is altering reality. Sometimes photography is about what you avoid to put in the frame and not about what you put in the frame. It's about what is not in the frame. And it's your subjective decision. For example, I remember a picture many years ago. A photographer took a picture in Naples about it was full of bags of dirt, of trash on the shore, and he took the picture and he claimed the picture to be about how dirty was Naples. In reality, those bags of trash were bags of trash that were taken by volunteers that were cleaning the beaches. And he has avoided to show the volunteers picking up the trash and only shown the trash bags to change the reality of what was happening. And he has not done anything in Photoshop. It was not done in Photoshop. It was done on purpose, just deciding what to put in the frame and what to left out from the frame. So every photography is subjective.
Right. Yeah, that's very true.
Never believe a photographer that tells you that he is showing truth. The truth is purely subjective. Even in war, if you are on one side and you are shooting picture of the other side shooting at you, you are on one of the two sides. To be objective, you should be in the middle of two sides shooting at each other. And sometimes it's not the right thing to do. We are human beings. We have our ideas. We have our feelings. That's why photography, if we do photography, we cannot be objective.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because, and maybe this is just the cultural difference, but you have a wisdom and a patience about how you explain things. You connect a lot of your explanations to philosophy and emotion. Well, where does that come from?
I don't know. Again, probably hating Latin and preferring philosophy just to Just at school. No, I don't know, but I read a lot.
Okay.
I read books. I see movies. I like to listen to people speaking. I read
Mm-hmm.
magazines. And in the end, and I'm getting older. I'm 57 now, so which helps because
Mm-hmm.
the older you get, the more you see that things have patterns and cycles and repeat themselves. So you're able sometimes just to see these patterns and
Mm-hmm.
these cycles, and things happens and then change and then happen again. And it's simply try to. Maybe being a photographer helps because anyway, doing photography is an exercise of observation.
Mm.
And observation is not only with your eyes; it's with your ears. It's I have music that sometimes suggests me that I would like to take a picture. Smells could bring you to take a picture,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the stories and people you meet, and it's that's why sometimes to judge your pictures, you need to put some time between taking the picture and evaluating your picture. Because sometimes you take a picture and you think it's a great picture because you are still feeling the emotion of the moment in which you took it, the smells, that the perfumes that were there,
Mm-hmm.
that you had just had a beautiful lunch. Or you were listening to great music, and there are a lot of things that your mind put inside that pictures. When you see that pictures after some time, maybe you see that was not a good picture in it
Mm.
per se. So it means something to you, but maybe it's not a great picture. On the other side, pictures that might seem not interesting at the first moment become immediately interesting after time.
Yeah.
I cyclically scan some of my old negatives,
Oh.
and I find very interesting pictures that at the time I had overlooked or found not interesting. But now with different knowledge, different memories, and an evolution in my life, I discovered that this picture had something that means a lot to me now. And I
Mm.
mean, this is very easy with family pictures, but I'm meaning also with travel pictures or pictures in general I have taken. Sometimes I say, "Oh, look what I did 20 years ago. Look what a picture, what picture I took then." And sometimes you
Yeah.
find something interesting, and it keeps your passion for photography alive, because otherwise it would only be running after the last picture you have taken. So you need to have some consistency also in your past, as you have sometimes to have the courage of trash the pictures that you really don't they are really not worth, because I also, like everyone else, when the digital started, the first years I started doing hundreds and
Yeah.
thousands of pictures, coming back from holidays with 3,000-4,000 pictures, and then you don't have the time even to review them, because then
Yeah.
you have to work, the family, the children, and they stay there, and sooner or later you need. I mean, the lockdown was a great moment for me to do that.
Yeah.
When there was the first lockdown in 2020, which in Italy has been particularly tight,
Yeah, it was.
we could not even get out from home. I took the time to have a look at all the old pictures, hours and hours to stay at home without doing nothing, and I got back to some pictures, and I found some little treasures, but I trashed a lot of worthless crap.
Yeah. Well, earlier you were mentioning like, music and books and stuff like, are there any films or, movies or anything that you think shaped a lot of your perspective and philosophy?
Oof, this is maybe too big, and I would not say it, because still one of my favorite movies is the Blues Brothers, so I don't think it relates a lot to. It
Okay, so you
relates a
like to
lot
see
to.
things blown up. Okay. A lot of car crashes. All right.
No, but there is a connection. For example, I love Wes Anderson movies.
Oh, yeah.
And Wes Anderson movies are a hymn to photography.
Mm-hmm.
They are composed like every scene is composed like a single picture,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps. It helps a lot to me to have a visual. I enjoy them. I really enjoy them because, like, I would enjoy an exhibition of pictures. So it's I always try to find something that connects to. I'm automatically brought to appreciate movies that have a great photography direction.
Yeah.
But in terms of philosophy, I don't know. Maybe from time to time I can get something, but it's more about I'm not looking for it. So sometimes I don't know where things can come from. They simply build into my mind, and they come out in different moments. So it's not a conscious search for philosophy. Honestly, I was joking before. I've never been passionate with philosophy itself, but I think that living life, if you are honest with yourself and you try to learn from your mistakes and from your experiences, builds philosophy itself.
Yeah.
So it's
well, I mean, I think the thing that I noticed the most is there is a, in America, like people that are in like the marketing area or that are in like higher levels of prestige in a company such as yourself tend to lead their decisions based on ego. And it sounds like you're leading a lot of your decisions and answers based on passion and emotion. And I think that's just the thing that is the most refreshing and exciting for me to hear on our conversation so far is that, I think for you, it's just there's just such a peace, and I think that's very unique to someone in your role and in your skill set. It's not like you're a guy with a newspaper who's been retired for 20 years. I mean, you're still in an active role and in one of the most incredibly prestigious and amazing companies in history, let alone photography.
Yeah, but it's in my role. First of all, companies, every company is so full of egos that if you just want to get into a battle of egos with your colleagues, sometimes it does not help. Second, Leica is a particular brand. It's not only a camera.
Yeah,
it also represents something in history, in culture. It has been something really important, especially in the 20th century. There could be so many stories about why Leica has been so important. And I'm here now for a while as a director of global marketing at Leica. So more than the ego, I feel the responsibility. So I need to do my part as many very good marketing directors have done before me since 1869.
Yeah.
to carry on this company in time in the right way. And I need to help my colleagues to do the right cameras in the right way. And then my job is simply to explain people, not what is Leica. And but why? The reason why they could enjoy buying a Leica. It's not, as I told you at the beginning, it's not about being better. It's about wanting to do something in a different way. In 1967, Leica North America launched the Leica M4 that was new at that time. And it was a camera was having not even the light meter. It was just a camera. You could press the button, change the shutter, and change the aperture on the camera. That was it. And the campaign, the headline of the campaign was the Think camera. And he was saying this is the best camera in the world to serve the most sophisticated instrument existing, the human brain. So your brain, your eyes, your heart, sometimes your gut. You have to build an image. And the camera has to be the most transparent and perfect tool to do it without interfering, without taking your decisions. There is another brand that recently has made, the headline was, I am the intelligent camera. Okay, I think I am intelligent myself. I don't need a camera to be intelligent. I need other things to be intelligent more than me. I need my car to be intelligent and help me to be safe, to have faster reactions of what I could do if a crash is coming. I don't need a camera to tell me how to take a picture instead of me. So we still are doing this. We are still trying to do cameras being respectful of the past and trying to be curious about the future. In my job, there are many things I do not understand. I was discussing with my team a few weeks ago. They wanted to explore TikTok because they say there is a lot of people that makes clever tutorials especially about film cameras and film Leicas, about how to use film. I am 57 with two children in their 20s, and I could have the preconception of looking at TikTok only as a stupid social media where people dances in front of the of the camera.
Right.
What should prevail? My ego or the trust I have in my team, and my basically Socratic knowing of not knowing. If you want to go back to philosophy, this is the most important. The wisdom is knowing that you don't know.
Yeah.
And like Socrates was saying. So I have to trust them. Then they know what is our, that we have some rules, that we need to respect the brand, that we have some guidelines that I draw in our activity. But within those guidelines, maybe they are right. Maybe we can intercept a younger audience that today might not have the money to buy a new Leica, but might become interested in photography like I was when I was 20, and then grow this knowledge and maybe myth about Leica, and maybe one day arrive to buy a second-hand film Leica, and then a digital one, and then in the end, the more people we are able to keep passionate and interested in photography, the better will be our commercial success in the future. Because if people start becoming interested in other things, no one will buy cameras anymore. And this is what's happening in the industry. And luckily, we are out of this.
Yeah.
We are growing since years in turnovers, in everything. We have expanded our own retail network, our galleries worldwide. In a photographic market, it is incredibly fast declining.
Yeah.
But because we don't sell cameras, we sell experience, we sell passion, we sell something different to you. And if I would apply my ego and think that I am the best director of marketing, maybe I would be looking at things that are not the ones that count. And I don't need it. Maybe It's more ego that you don't need to unleash your ego to have things going the right way.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when you had mentioned the TikTok stuff and things like that, like, something that I see, and whether you guys are doing this or not, it reminds me of a lot of how watch companies will do their marketing, to where in most cases, there's a lot of these watch companies, they're still spending tons of money on marketing and they don't even have the inventory to sell. Even if everyone wanted them that had the money, they don't even have the inventory to sell to them, but they still want to do the marketing because they want to communicate to others how they want to be viewed in the vertical that they're in, right? I think regardless of whether or not Leica, like the red dot means quality, it means unique, it means reliability, it means, there's all of these things that are associated with it, and that's been from the marketing that you've seen over the years. So it's almost like, and it's funny because I told a friend that I had this Leica on loan, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, like they're crazy expensive. There's enjoy it because you're never going to be able to afford one." Da, da, da. And then I told another friend, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "I have a bunch of Leicas," and I'm like, "Oh, like how did you get it?" And he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "I bought a used Leica for $250, a used film Leica for $250, and I've since slowly kind of graduated up more and more. He's got old lenses that he puts on it, and so I mean, I think he has like an M. He's going to make fun of me now because I'm messing this up. I think he has an M7 or an M9.
M7 is film, M9 is digital, but they are both great cameras.
Yeah, and so he has that, but like he's been slowly, like upgrading and buying his stuff over a decade. And he's like, "Yeah, I've never spent that much, and I'm able to sell these later." And so it's almost the way when people ask me how I'm able to like have watches that are expensive, it's like, well, I started here and I slowly worked my way up, and then I sold what I had and I got more, and I versus one person.
This is when you invest in something that has value.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very likely that the camera that the first Leica that your friend bought at $250 then cost $2,500 today.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing.
$2,500 today.
Yeah.
prices are growing. You know that we have recently, we have also an auction house.
Yeah.
And we have just sold to the latest auction one of the first prototypes of the Leica from 1923. It was auctioned for 14 million euro. Yeah, no, with the starting price of 1 million euro.
Yeah.
So it was quite, but the reality is that there were tens of other cameras that were sold for 300,000, 250, 20,000, 80,000, 40,000. This is because, and people was asking, but why? The why, my idea is that today Leica is a valuable investment because it has an history. It has an history of values growing in time, but also because it comes from a company that is alive. If Leica would have been dead, the old cameras would have less interest because there is not a brand still alive that is doing still things that guarantee what we were discussing at the beginning, the sustainability of the brand and of the products. You buy a camera today from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s, and the camera is fully working, fully serviceable. Even from the 60s, you buy lenses from 1935 and you can use them on your latest Leica M11. Yes, like we were saying at the beginning, with some flaws and uniqueness, but still you can use them to have a unique view. This sustainability in time creates value and makes also worthwhile investing in a product up to the level of the auctions that we are seeing.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing because I have now been trying to find some way to afford either a Q2 or an M11, where it's just, where I'm like, okay, I bet I could sell some of these watches. I could put this into this. Cause like after using it, and Leica generously like loaned me a couple to check out. I'm like, it's just an experience unlike anything I've ever had. And I have like a Fuji X100, which is a great camera. I have like a Sony A6400, obviously nothing that's like of the rangefinder world. But just, it's unlike anything I've ever shot and used. And it's just been a joy to understand and to just mess with. I mean, it's totally opened my eyes.
Sony, Fuji, they do great cameras.
Oh, absolutely.
Nikon, Canon. If you want to have nice pictures, they are great cameras. If you want to enjoy the process of taking pictures in a different way, and you try a Leica M11, M10, a second-hand M10 today is a great pick because honestly, 24 million pixels are way a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
For what you need. And even the 18 million pixel of the M9 were a lot. And an M10 today is a great choice with a cheap lens, with a second-hand lens of 50 millimeters. You really can have a Leica to have fun with more or less the same money that a mirrorless system camera would cost. So it's a question of choice. It's not it's a question of what you want to enjoy. One thing that is difficult for us in communication is we don't need to explain what is a Leica, because it's either too simple or too complicated. We need to build the knowledge in the people of why they could enjoy a Leica, and to do it, it's you need at one point to bring the people in contact with the product, physically in contact with the product. So we cannot live with online communication and online shopping. We need to create physical moments. That's why we have built our retail. We have over 100 stores around the world where you can enjoy photography because they have exhibitions, they have spaces, they have the Leica Academy where you can learn photography, and they have the cameras, and you can go there, test the camera, do what we call a test drive, go out, take pictures, shoot. I mean, the feeling when you got the camera into your hands, it's a different feeling.
Very.
And you need to feel that, to enjoy that, and that's the difficult thing. we still are, the difficult part of my job is to be able to create this connection between online and offline, between bringing the people to be interested in the brand, go to the website, learn more about the product, but somehow we continue the journey till the moment they go to a Leica store or to a selected dealer to try the camera, or register for a Leica Academia workshop, or for a Leica, what we call Leica Day or Leica events. And the difficult thing is that there is a moment in which this is not anymore measurable. So I can measure how many people go to the website, how many, the reach, the click-through rate, how many people goes on the website. But at a certain moment from when they are there and when they show up in a store, there's something missing. That's why I think that I strongly believe in figures when it comes to marketing, but still, as someone said, I don't remember who, there are things that count which cannot be counted, and things that which not be counted that count. And I think that the difficulty or the beauty or the challenge of my job is to go and find creative ways and clever ways to build that gap between being seen online, which is basically today the way to be seen, and creating the interest of the people to complete the journey, to complete their experience in one of our galleries, in our stores, at one of our events, renting a camera, testing a camera, asking a friend to show him his Leica, and so this is the challenging and beautiful part of my job.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. Andrea, it's been a huge pleasure to chat with you. I've taken up a lot of your time. Pleasure. I want to make sure you get back to your vacation here. It was absolutely great to meet you, and I hope to meet you in person soon. So thanks again.
I hope.
All right, see ya. You've been listening to Blamo. We're edited by Amar Lal, our music by Breakmaster Cylinder, and we're produced by Blamo Media. If you like the show, tell a friend, give us some good vibes. You can follow us on social media at Blamo Podcast or myself at The Kirkland. You can also email us at info@blamopod.com. And if you want more deep dives like this, join the Blam Fam. Visit us at patreon.com/Blamo, where we have tons more exclusive episodes where we get nitty gritty, we got roundtables, we got all sorts of amazing things, and our incredible Slack group. All right, thanks again. See you soon.